You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. More specifically, we're going to talk about George Pickens and Russell Wilson. I got to tell you, I went into yesterday's Christmas Day game thinking, oh, the Steelers have a real shot here. This game is at home. They're getting George Pickens back, and they got absolutely destroyed by the Kansas City Chiefs. And I understand the Chiefs are, 15-1, and somehow they still feel like the most fraudulent 15-1 team I've ever watched in my life. But yesterday, they were dominant. And after the game, of course, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce were talking to the media, and something very strange happened involving George Pickens. Now, Pickens has been called out by a local Steelers radio person, and Mike Florio of PFT has also thrown his 2 cents into the mix because, well, one could say, well, this is either good sportsmanship or, man, this guy is sending a signal, which is not a great look, and it's one of many not great looks for one George Pickens. Of course, he's a very, let's just put it this way, controversial wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and there's been, of course, things involving attitude, etc. over time. By the way, we'll get to this, but Terrell Owens destroyed him over the game yesterday. So there was this, and coming in during the interview and dapping up Travis Kelce and one Patrick Mahomes, George Pickens hits Chiefs players with "come and get me DAP." And there's been a lot of reaction to this. Mike Florio has come out and said, he came out on Pro Football Talk this morning, and he believes that George Pickens was sending a signal to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to come get him the hell off the Steelers. And I just can't help but think, after Mike Tomlin's comments yesterday about the JV squad and all this kind of thing, Mike Tomlin's got to be getting fed up. And the other thing that we got to talk about is the fact that, is it time to start considering Justin Fields again, if he can get healthy for a playoff run? I'm not going to lie to you. I really thought the Steelers had a shot yesterday. And it was one of the most shocking, maybe the most shocking performance I've seen all year by a team. I did not expect them to get run through, and that's exactly what happened. They got dominated. So Florio said this, quote, "My thought was he was saying, come get me. I feel like Pickens has been at the point of, I've had enough here for a while now. It flashes from time to time. He has visions of what he could do in an offense with a higher-end passing game, an offense that throws the ball more than the Steelers do. Think of all the guys who have been problematic at the receiver position that Mike Tomlin has kept under wraps, either until the very end or after they're gone. With Pickens, it's been fairly consistent the past couple of seasons, but he's so good that you keep finding a way to try to get the most out of him. In that moment yesterday, that made me think that this offseason, after he's had 3 seasons in, he's eligible for a second contract. What are they going to do at quarterback next year? There's a ton of factors that come into it, but I'm starting to think maybe it's reaching the end of the road for Steelers and George Pickens. And, of course, there is a contract situation that's going to come down the pipeline, and he's supposed to be a number 1 wideout. And, yes, sometimes he flashes it. But enter in Terrell Owens, who thought he didn't look like one yesterday. Okay, after having just 3 receptions for 50 yards, the third-year wideout faced scrutiny for his lack of production. Among those calling him out was Hall of Famer Terrell Owens. Responding to a social media post about Cam Hayward's post-game comments, in which he said, when 10 guys do their job and 1 doesn't, we are screwed. There's some drama on this team. Owens agreed that there's a similar issue on offense. Quote, same on offense as well. When you got number 14 not running his routes and causing interceptions. We know one thing about Mike Tomlin. He doesn't want to turn the ball over. You can believe that. All right, he's all about controlling the ball, not turning it over, controlling the game clock, doing the fundamentals correctly, which, by the way, he talked about them not being very good at. Owens seemed to be referencing a play at the end of the first quarter with Chiefs leading 13-0. Veteran quarterback Russell Wilson threw an interception in the end zone. While taking ownership for the mistake, Wilson acknowledged Pickens was supposed to run another route. Quote, yeah, I think he was going to go vertical, but at the end of the day, it can't happen. It's on me, Wilson said. I was trying to give Pat Freiermuth a chance. He's done a good job for us down in the red zone, and they made a good play. Yeah, seriously, here you go. The bottom line is the junior varsity is not good enough. We've got to own that. And Tomlin was about as pissed as we've seen him after a game, and I don't blame him. I mean, it was a horrible showing. It really was. You have to wonder, one game is left, folks. And in case you're wondering, this is just the stats, 23 of 37, 205. And Wilson had the pick. George Pickens, 3 for 50. That ain't going to get it done. You're seeing that right there. Receiving, no touchdowns. All right, you've got Justin Fields, who was playing pretty good earlier in the season, and I'm not going to lie. The Russell Wilson thing has worked. And I thought, the Steelers team, they're playing really good defense. They got some weapons. I always say if you can put together a Super Bowl winning quarterback with a Super Bowl winning coach, you've got a chance. And it seemed like yesterday that it just showed the Steelers don't have a shot once they get into the playoffs. I mean, they feel like a team that, don't get me wrong, could beat the Texans maybe, or some other team that slips in. Could they go toe-to-toe with the Broncos or the Chargers? Probably. But once they get up to the Bills and the Chiefs and even the Ravens, Steeler fans ain't going to want to hear that. They're going to have real, real big issues. Now, maybe you can bring in Justin Fields and into some packages. I know they've done that a little bit, but it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And was that George Pickens sending a message to the Chiefs, get me the hell out? The Chiefs got real weapons now. Hollywood Brown's back. DeAndre Hopkins is in there. Xavier Worthy's starting to get it together. It's getting kind of scary. Even at that, they still didn't score 30. You ought to see the list of teams in the league that have not scored 30 at least once. They all suck, except for the Chiefs that are 15-1. But it was a dominant performance by the Chiefs, no doubt about it. And I just thought the stars aligned. It's at home. Good defense. Tomlin will have them ready. And a bunch of folks looked like fools yesterday, thinking the Steelers had a chance. How much longer does Mike Tomlin put up with George Pickens? He's a big-time playmaker, and Russell Wilson's stats look a hell of a lot worse without him in there. But I'm talking about after the season. Is this it? And then they're going to figure out a way to move him to a different team. Keep something else in mind here. If another team tries to grab this guy, if Mike Tomlin has been able to control this guy's personality the way he has, maybe Mike Tomlin was controlling Deontay Johnson's personality too, and look at what's happened to him away from Mike Tomlin. I don't know that there's any chance if I was a team. I mean, somebody will give George Pickens a chance, don't get me wrong, and somebody may even trade something for him. But is he going to be a bigger problem? I mean, if he can't be correct under Mike Tomlin, what's going to happen? Now, that said, the one exception was Antonio Brown, who had some real success with other teams. Looked good at time. He looked a little good with Brady, and then he looked really good with Brady with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and won a Super Bowl. But with the Raiders, with the Patriots, Antonio Brown, not so great. Really damn good with the Steelers, really good with the Buccaneers till he walked off the field, right? So we'll have to see what happens. That said, and I need to make this clear, Antonio Brown is a much better receiver than George Pickens. But you get the point about Mike Tomlin and attitude and this and that and the other. Antonio Brown ought to be in the Hall of Fame, frankly. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.